fee structure or face the consequences. Purity Miseo now reports.
Buoyed by the urge to start a new journey in their career, Form 1 students at Jamhuri High School in Nairobi trooped to their classes full of hope for their future. According to the school's administration, so far 95% of learners selected have reported since Monday.
Our boys came on Wednesday, and out of the 360 expected, 337 came by Wednesday. And as of today, we are 360.
While applauding boarding schools whose reporting levels she termed impressive, Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Sarah Ruto, noted with concern low turnout being reported in day schools.
The reporting trends show that Kirinyaga County is at 85% in Kirinyaga County. But in some of the other counties, and I'd like to call out on Lamu County, it is very low. The other low county is Tana River County is also very low, and so it is Lamu County, Tana River, and Turkana counties.
Sarah urging parents and guardians whose children are yet to report to their selected schools to do so before it's too late.
We urge all the stakeholders to ensure that the learners report to school so that we can ensure we meet the 100% transition policy. We have already called out on the counties that are doing well, and the counties that are not, we are asking everybody, from the parents, the guardians, and the various arms of government to support to ensure that these children come to school and partake of their right to education.
And for the public secondary schools that are not following the new released fee guidelines.
These revised fees are there to be respected, and schools are expected to do as we have stated. Ensure the information is communicated, and if fees have been paid, this will be advance payment for the next term.
Purity Museo is a Friday.
Matters to some politics. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has assured small-scale traders that he'll ensure a flexible tax regime is adopted should he be elected president. Muturi, who held talks with a number of small-scale traders in Nairobi, said the sector plays a critical role in the country's economy and should be supported and not stifled by punitive taxes.
The National Assembly Speaker held talks with a number of small-scale traders in the city, where the question of punitive taxes was largely discussed.
You find that it is not working. It can't work. You may impose a tax and you are killing that trader. Well, whom will you tax? There's no point of trying to extract blood from a rock.
Muturi says if he wins the presidency in this nation, his administration will engage with all stakeholders on matters taxation.
You cannot go taxing as if it's the end of the world. You must listen to the people. So the idea is listen to the people, consult with them, reason together with them. Don't impose taxes without consulting those whom you intend to tax.
Everybody is crying about taxation, and especially the impact goes down to the small trader.
Muturi promising to ensure that small traders are at the center of policy formulation to protect their venture.
The SME sector transcends very many areas. There are those who are importers, and those who are retailers, and all those. They all contribute to the well-being of the economy as a whole. And therefore, it is important that at all times, policies are implemented that begin from addressing that sector.
The traders chairperson Ben Mutai appealed to the government to have the heart of small business ventures when formulating their policies.
What we are looking at is that engagement with the government to see where the common mwananchi, the common trader, issues can be articulated at the best timeline possible.
The Moving on, property of unknown value was destroyed in a Friday dawn fire at the Gikomba open-air market makeshift stalls. The government is now stepping in to put up modern stalls it says will be a solution to the perennial fires in the market. Take a look.
Barely 6 months after another inferno rendered traders in the largest open-air market jobless, yet again Friday morning Gikomba market was on fire. More than 300 traders and tenants were left counting losses with little to salvage. The numerous fires in the market raising concerns among the public as to what could be the genesis of the perennial inferno.
Na hii moto tunafaa tusaidiwe. Ni ukweli. Na Kenya inatukula, kuna wenye wanajua Kenya inatukula. Unaona? Na wako hapa. Watujibu, watuambie hii moto kutoka sijui miaka 20 imeisha. Tutakuanga tukishinda hii maisha.
Baada ya kurusha watoto nilitoka ndio ikabidi nigonge majirani wa mke.
The Ministry of Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibicho, who visited the area, said the government is in the process of building permanent stalls in the market and the first phase is already complete with more than 1,000 traders occupying it.
The permanent solution is to remove them from the conditions they are in now and put them in permanent markets, which we are doing. Those permanent markets have better aeration. They have water, they have electricity, there is an infrastructure of even dealing with an accident should it occur.
Kibicho said access to the market has been a major stumbling block in responding to emergencies and that CCTV cameras will be installed at strategic points in the market as part of beefing up security.
Improve on the lighting, and we have directed the regional team to map at least 10 lighting points by next week so that we can be able to have good surveillance even at night. We have also agreed that alongside that lighting we will put some cameras.
Suleiman Yeri, Easy Friday.
Now, all public service transport vehicles will resume a full passenger capacity effective Monday next week. Transport Chief Administrative Secretary Chris Obure says the new revised PSV protocols were arrived at after a lengthy conversation with public transport sector stakeholders. The ministry is expected to sign a memorandum of understanding with the operators that will ensure they comply with health protocols to contain COVID-19.
It will soon be a reprieve to public transport operators after the government announced its intentions to allow matatus to revert back to a full capacity by Monday next week.
We have to live with this corona, and how we live with it is how best we are going to open up our economy.
Speaking after holding a meeting with public transport sector stakeholders in Nairobi, Transport Chief Administrative Secretary Chris Obure has revealed that the transport sector is one of the hardest hit by the ravages of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the decision will enable them to bounce back.
Personal discipline. We're asking citizens to take personal responsibility in this matter, and we're asking the SACCO managers, the industry to regulate itself.
This even as the ministry laid down very stringent measures to curb the spread of the virus during travels, with those flouting the new transport guidelines to face the music.
There is COVID-19 and the new variant is extremely dangerous. So as an industry, we have decided to comply fully.
Input for non-compliance is going to be stiff. And I don't think there is any SACCO or company that is going to allow to close shop. So we are not only going to close to open for business, but we are also going to look at the safety of our passengers.
All passengers should sanitize, have a mask and screen for high temperatures using a contact-free thermometer. The guidelines further directs all the PSVs to have a proper ventilation. The ministry has also banned hawking and preaching inside the vehicles, as well as making unnecessary stopovers while on transit. The crew will also be required to ensure the vehicle is disinfected after every trip. Timothy Kipnoso for Easy Friday.
Now, the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Health, has signed into law Breast Milk Substitutes Regulations 2021. The regulations are expected to reduce preventable infant illnesses and deaths by supporting optimal breastfeeding and proper use of breast milk substitutes. Further, the regulations will guide ethical interaction of manufacturers with health workers and proper use, demonstration and labeling of products meant for infants. And as Ruth Wamboi now reports, the latest development is a key milestone for the country as the world marks Breastfeeding Awareness Week.
As the world marks Breastfeeding Awareness Week, Kenya has made a milestone by signing into law Breast Milk Substitute Regulations 2021.
These guidelines have been signed into law by the Cabinet Secretary as required and will be gazetted anytime.
The new law will protect children from risks occasioned by suboptimal breastfeeding.
Best interest of an infant and young child. And 3, guide the ethical interaction of manufacturers with health workers, the way donations are used or received, demonstration on use, development on informational and educational communication materials, and labeling of breast milk substitutes and other designated products.
Kenya has made tremendous achievements in increasing the proportion of exclusively breastfeeding infants from 13% in 2003 to the current 61%.
If we go and we reach at least 3 people with a message why breastfeeding is important, as a country we'll have created a lot of awareness that breastfeeding is the foundation for all our children.
Campaigns aimed at marketing of breast milk substitutes have, however, led to reduced breastfeeding.
Wasiogope ati matiti itaanguka, wanyonyeshe watoto ili watoto wakuwe na nafuu, wasikuwe na maugonjwa kila saa.
Sisi kama wanaume advice naweza wapea to support kina mama wakati wana feed breast kwa kuwatafutia chakula ya kutosha na hiyo moral support.
Kuna wale mmetengea serikali, mmetengea mko na fund ya kutengea wale wa smoking zone. Sasa ningeomba serikali pia hawa wamama na watoto na sisi mtengee mali kama hapo, ni kwa sababu
this year's theme is Protect Breastfeeding, a shared responsibility. As the world commemorates World Breastfeeding Week, it is important for fathers and mothers to make sure that their child is exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months in order to boost their immunity. For Easy Friday, I'm Ruth Wamboi.
Now, trouble for outgoing Kenya Film Classification Board CEO Dr. Ezekiel Mutua mounted on Friday after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, announced it was investigating him on allegations of irregular payments of salaries and allowances. That story will have it later on. The National Assembly Committee on Broadcast and Library is calling on Kenyans to support the state broadcaster KBC by consuming its products. The committee that toured the station's transmission site in Malindi commended the state broadcaster for its factual news and educative programs, among other milestones it had achieved over the years.
Malindi Transmission Station at Marakebuni was the final destination for the Parliamentary Broadcast and Library Committee 3 days tour of the KBC satellite transmission stations at the Coast Region. The members once again commended Kenya Broadcasting Corporation for its state-of-the-art transmission facilities.
The partnership that we are starting very soon, all the information is going to come to our regions, especially what we have seen here in the coastal region. We are certain that they will all get the information that we have.
John Amburu, a member in the committee, reiterated that the partnership between KBC and Parliament to air live House proceedings has enriched debate in the House.
I've seen in KBC we can also have a museum for KBC, which I'm sure that history will be transmitted through also Bunge TV. We have old legislatures from 1960s, and we need to know what they were doing and what today we are doing differently, or what we can borrow from them so that we can improve what we are doing today for the good and common goal for improving the lives of all Kenyans.
The committee called on Kenyans to embrace the state broadcaster and make it their station of choice.
Kenyans have invested a lot. The infrastructure that we've seen having gone around these stations is enormous, and it only requires that we have a return for this investment, and the return is just us Kenyans giving KBC the chance to give us that which we will be proud of as a people and as a country.
We should always be ready to switch to KBC because there is a lot of information which we are going to give out from Bunge and from other places.
For Easy Friday from Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
Now, trouble for outgoing Kenya Film Classification Board CEO Dr. Ezekiel Mutua mounted on Friday after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that's EACC, announced it was investigating him on allegations of irregular payments of salaries and allowances at the parastatal. Now, the announcement by EACC came hours after KFCB indicated that it had appointed Communications Authority of Kenya CA Director Christopher Wambua to replace Dr. Mutua in an acting capacity. Here is Ben Chumba with the details.
They will not even be happy as we go forward. We'll make them more annoyed.
Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, who has been at the helm of Kenya Film and Classification Board since 2015, is officially out. The former KFCB boss was asked to proceed on terminal leave on the expiry of his second term. On Thursday night, Dr. Mutua had on social media denied reports that he had been fired, calling them malicious. He further said he was not aware of such developments. On Friday morning, KFCB in a memo said it had appointed Communications Authority of Kenya Director for Consumer and Public Affairs Christopher Wambua as the new CEO in an acting capacity pending the recruitment of a substantive boss. This sparked debate on social media platforms, with those in support saying Dr. Mutua had done a good job, while others said he had been overstepping his mandate. A dispatch from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC indicated that the anti-graft body had launched investigations into allegations of irregular payments of salaries and allowances involving Dr. Mutua and KFCB board member Gathoni Kungu. EACC said it was seeking from KFCB documents and information on payment of salaries and allowances paid to the duo to facilitate the investigations. Ben Chumba, Easy Friday.
The country's daily COVID-19 cases has remained past 1,000 mark in the past few days, with 1,561 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. The cases were tested from a sample size of 10,072. Now, this brings the positivity rate to 15.5%. The country's cumulative cases are now at 208,823. Nairobi County recorded the highest number with 647 cases, while Elgeyo Marakwet reported the least with only one confirmed case. The country's death toll has also risen to 4,088 after 31 patients succumbed to the disease, one of them in the last 24 hours, while 30 are late deaths. Globally, 201 million total positive cases were reported as per Friday, while more than 4 million deaths have been recorded. Time now for a break. You're still watching Easy Friday. And later on, of course, Chiki Kuruka right here on Easy Friday with Shiksha, Arora. You don't want to miss that.
Absolutely. Before we go on the break, just a few tweets that have come in on the hashtag Easy Friday. One that says, locked at KBC Channel 1, the hottest duo. It's crystal clear on hashtag Easy Friday from Lee. Another one that says, one way to reduce the tension is by dancing. 844 applied. Fully kudos. That's for the video we posted on at KBC Channel 1. Check it out. The hashtag is Easy Friday. You'll see Indimuli busting a few moves. You cannot miss out on that.
And Washika Ken asks, Shiksha, can you do kanungo?
You'll have to explain to me what kanungo is during the break.
Yes.
Let's take that break.
African countries should unite and fight until we see that apartheid is no more in South Africa. Amanda! 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 Viva Mandela! Viva Mandela! Viva ANC! Viva Kenya! Viva Winnie! Viva Africa! A luta continua!
What is wrong with your head? What part aren't you understanding that we are not in good terms?
Hey, Raya, bulbole, عقدت مدوم عيش العدرس as with respect, ويا عبانا ماميت ونسيس عبانا متوتوياكو. Do you understand?
Why on earth would I steal a few bales of cooking fat and tissues? Do you know who you are addressing? Rotten cabbage.
Mwalimu, I know I let you down, but I had nothing to do with what happened.
Have I addressed you?
No, Mwalimu.
Then shut your mouth. And let that be the last time I tell any of you to shut it.
I will never trust you guys. You are all evil schemers. When the lightning strike you.
Let me leave this place before lightning strike me.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Nipashe maana wewe
mama mipasho
kabisa.
Haya,
shida iko wapi kwani?
Mbona mimi napo habari zingine basi zielewe mama.
Habari gani mpenzi? Na unguja sasa hivi tayari uondoka.
Mimi nitakuletea mwanamume ambaye nitampenda mimi mwenyewe na ambaye nitamridhia mimi mwenyewe, ambaye ni chaguo langu.
Najua nini Sule boy, sweat yako ameacha. Shanipata Unajua mtoto wa kike ndiko kuna sehemu anaenda.
Mimi mpaka sasa yani najiuliza huyu jamaa alitushinda vipi?
Bwana Senator, nakuhakikishia huyu bwana hatutushinda kwa hili jambo.
Good evening, welcome to Business. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now, plans are underway to review the East African Community Treaty to boost inter-regional trade by addressing issues that have emerged after expansion of the bloc from the original 3 members to the current 6. The review team that will have 5 members from each of the 6 EAC members states that it would target to address tariff and non-tariff barriers that have emerged and those anticipated.
The treaty for the establishment of the East African Community was signed in Arusha on 30th November 1999 and came into force on 7th July 2000 following the conclusion of the process of its ratification and deposit of the instruments of ratification with the Secretary General by all the 3 partner states.
And our challenge in East Africa, I firmly believe, is we don't have enough companies that are galloping across the rest of the continent and bringing riches and wealth back to its people. We stay small. 80% of our business, as Chair Muteti just told me, is small businesses and very small ones.
2 decades later, there is a push to review the treaty to address emerging issues such as delays in law and policy harmonization by member states.
And that will be possible if we sit down on a round table, the ministers as policymakers and yourselves as captains of industry, and see how we need to create wealth, how we need to recover from this COVID very urgently, and how we ensure that maybe in the next 5 years we have intra-EAC trade at above 40%. And that will be possible if we have on a round table, sit down and come up with solutions.
Plans are underway to set up a technical steering committee consisting of 30 top businesses with operations in the East African Community and EAC Council members to fast-track implementation of the bloc's trade policies. In addition, plans to review the common external tariff launched in 2017 would be complete by the end of this year, paving way for the adoption of harmonized custom policies to foster more regional trade.
And we are at this stage looking where to house this monetary union, in which country, and that discussion is ongoing. And in not too distant future, the plan is to have one common central bank like you have in Europe, one currency, so that when you go from one country to the other, you don't have to worry about exchange rates, and so on and so forth. That program is progressing very well, and we should be able to see that happening within the region.
Delays in project funds disbursement is the biggest challenge experienced by foreign-owned contractors working in Africa, which they say risk their survival. Sandra Yo, a senior vice president at Tunes, has however lauded the business environment in Kenya, especially for fintechs. Here is Brian Munyoki with the details.
Businesses from Singapore have been encouraged to tap into the Africa's business potential, which offers rich, skilled labor and the fastest growing markets. Sandra Yao, a senior vice president at Thun, says Singaporean businesses are keen on increasing investments in Kenya, focusing on infrastructural projects such as roads, dams, transports and logistics, as well as fintechs in deals that would help transfer skills to Kenyans.
Africa is one of the fastest growing consumer market in the world. As we all know, it is the fastest growing population, and the market presents important opportunities for the business in an environment of slowing down global growth.
This emerged during the Africa Business Forum held virtually on Friday, where experts underscored the needs for foreign companies investing in Africa to understand the legal and business environment.
What we do is, I don't know if everyone knows, but cross-border remittance is super expensive, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, sometimes as high as 17%.
We feel that's a great strategy for our Africa business, where we pride ourselves being local people with a global experience. So the industries today depend a lot on size and capacity.
Delegates said infrastructure, which is huge and capital intensive, is an investment opportunity that Singaporeans may tap for investment. For Easy Friday, I'm Brian Munyoki.
Well, farmers in Kilimani area, not in Nairobi but Isiolo County, have begun reaping the benefits of the Kilimani Galana irrigation scheme. The completion of the Kilimani Dam along Lewa River and construction of additional water storage tanks to supply water to farms is now changing the fortunes of the area farmers.
Flourishing horticultural farms in Burat, Isiolo County are a testament of the impact of the 146 million shillings Kilimani Dam. Government spokesman retired Colonel Cyrus Oguna, who accompanied by other government officials toured the project, said it will transform the lives of Isiolo residents while providing farm produce for neighboring Meru, Laikipia, Samburu and Marsabit counties.
Huu mradi ni kuweza kusaidia wananchi sio hapa peke yake, lakini wananchi katika eneo lote la Isiolo County na county ambazo ni jirani, pamoja na county ambazo ziko mbali kidogo, kwa sababu nyakati ambazo kunakuwa na chakula tosha hapa county Isiolo na county zingine pia zitakuja hapa kutafuta chakula.
The 103,000 cubic meters dam has a capacity that will ensure sufficient water supply to farmers. The dam has been designed to only fetch rainwater without inconveniencing users of Lewa River downstream. Residents have already embarked on horticultural farming, buoyed by the steady water supply to their farms. They are now calling on the government to help them access a reliable market following the increased supply.
Watu walikuwa wanapigania laga. Watu wa juu wakikunya, watu wa chini wapati maji. Sasa sisi saa hii maji inaingia mzuri sana. Nashukuru serikali na tunapata chakula mingi, ng'ombe inashiba. Hii mboga hii sasa naenda Marsabit, ingine naenda Wamba, pesa mfukoni, njaa marufuku. Nashukuru sana serikali.
It's both subsistence na inatosha pia. Nice. Upeleka soko. Kuna wengi mimi najua wako na uwezo wa kupanda nyanya kwa wingi. Bora tu soko ipatikane.
And now to international stories, where Apple has announced details of a system to find child sexual abuse material on U.S. customers' devices. Before an image is stored onto iCloud Photos, the technology will search for matches of already known child sexual abuse material. Apple said that if a match is found, a human reviewer will then assess and report report to law enforcement. Here are the details of this and other stories from across the globe.
There are privacy concerns that the technology to find child sexual abuse material could be expanded to scan phones for prohibited content or even political speech. Experts worry that the technology could be used by authoritarian governments to spy on its citizens. Apple said that new versions of iOS and iPad OS, due to be released later this year, will have new applications of cryptography to help limit the spread of child sexual abuse material online while designing for user privacy. The system works by comparing pictures to a database of non-child sexual abuse images compiled by the U.S. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and other child safety organizations. Meanwhile, local Venezuelan food businesses are trying to cash in on some international fast food franchises which are leaving the country following years of hyperinflation and the coronavirus pandemic. Over the past 7 years, Venezuela has experienced its worst ever economic crisis with record levels of recession and hyperinflation. According to the Venezuelan Chamber of Franchises, the number of franchise brands operating in the country have reduced to 250 from 450 7 years ago. America fast food chain Wendy's announced in March it was leaving Venezuela. Other big names like Subway and Burger King are slowly divesting too. Finally, Singapore reopened its largest aquatic seafood wholesale market in the country after 2 weeks of closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with strict restrictions in place to prevent further infections. The port reopened after 2 weeks of closure and disinfection, but only people with a pass are allowed. After the port was reopened, the Food Authority of Singapore strengthened the epidemic prevention measures at the entrance of the port, the wholesale market, and the docking and unloading areas. Workers on arriving foreign fishing vessels are prohibited from contacting with staff members in the fishery port.
Well, that's it from the business desk. Up next, the news roundup with Shiksha.
Thank you, Cynthia. Now, Manyata Sub-County Police Commander Emily Ngaruya and Officer Manyata Police Station, OCS, Abdullahi Yaya, have been transferred. Now, this comes after 2 brothers died allegedly in the hands of police after they were arrested for flouting curfew hours at Kianjokoma town in Embu. More of this in the news wrap. Take a look.
While transferring the 2 senior officers, Deputy Inspector General of Police Edward Mbogwa said the decision was taken on the grounds that the officers are currently not in good terms with the locals following the mysterious deaths of 2 brothers. Police allege that the deceased jumped from a moving police vehicle only for an autopsy later to reveal the 2 had suffered head and limb injuries, probably after they were hit with a blunt object.
Munasikia sasa tunaitwa National Police Service to give service to the citizens. If we are not giving you service, then hakuna haja. Na tena I cannot be able to impose people on you. So mimi nasema mwevanda chukua Sub County Police Commander, pereka Itavua huko kana yeye. Tafuta OCS aende. Kufikia kesho sitaki kuwasikia wako wapi? Wako hapa.
In another development, a 52-year-old man has been sentenced to life by a Busia court after he pleaded guilty of defiling a 10-year-old girl. Nicholas Tekla Ouma, who hails from Erisia village in Matayo sub-county, admitted to severally luring the 10-year-old girl by offering her money. Elsewhere, 4 businessmen who are directors of a self-help group have been released on a 1 million shillings cash bail with an alternative bond of 2 million shillings each after denying 5 counts of land fraud and forging land documents. The 4, who include former Kayole Chief Alexander Hobbs, Patrobas Awino, Peter Gitao and Peter Njoroge, were on Friday charged afresh over a 944 million shillings land fraud in Nairobi.
But that is in order, Your Honor.
Then we can take a date before court number 1 for pre-trial.
That is in order, Your Honor. But at the same time, Your Honor, we also apply that.
And then for 2nd, for 3rd and 4th.
Yes.
the same to be set at the same terms of 2 million plus 1 surety. 2 million plus 1 surety, alternative cash bail of 1 million.
And Kirinyaga Central MP John Wambugu has urged private entities wishing to import the COVID-19 vaccine to follow the procedure laid out by the government.
Watu pengine wangeweza kuleta hizi dawa kibinafsi, lakini pia tujue hii ni hali ya maisha, na ni vizuri kama wataleta wafuatilie ile mikakati yote serikali imeweka, ndio kama hiyo inajua ile kitu imekuja ama hiyo dawa imekuja ni mzuri ama sio mzuri.
And Kiambu Governor James Nyoro has raised an alarm over the rising cases of COVID-19 related deaths in the area. Speaking in Kiambu, Nyoro said the county has in the last 2 days reported over 200 patients admitted at Tigoni COVID Center, and 85% of them are in oxygen support.
So whereas we will continue to expand our capacity to admit more patients, in fact, we have opened up our level 5 hospitals for admission.
Finally, members of Mau Mau Freedom Fighters umbrella organization Kenya Unity for Memorial Peace Heritage Cultural Organization have stressed the importance of conserving Kenya's historical sites as envisioned in the Constitution of Kenya. They were speaking at Githunguri, where they had assembled to start construction and rehabilitation of Githunguri Gallows, where most of Kenya's freedom fighters were hanged after being condemned by the colonial government. For Easy Friday, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
All right, and with that, it's time to take a commercial break. But before we get to that, we've got a tweet that says from Bella Tisa_1, who says, "Easy Friday, I'm watching from Huisero."
Yeah, you have a clue where Huisero is.
What did you just say?
Huisero.
Hui with
Huisero.
a
Yes, yes.
Okay,
It's somewhere in
Huisero.
Buteremo. Yes, I should actually take you there sometime.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I'll have the sports news after this.
My name is Rosemary Warongo and I'm a wildlife warrior.
The Grevy's zebra is one of Africa's most endangered animals.
In Kenya we have 2,812. How they live as families, it's just like the way we live at home.
All you need is a camera. Take a photograph.
I just take the image and drag it in the software.
Upload it onto the website and participate as a citizen scientist. This is Wildlife Warriors. And I'm Paula Kohon.
Guy, namaanisha internet.
Raura.
Ai, ziwachi Kiswahili kucho.
Patie mtoto ya ng'ombe maji.
Sasa tutafanyaje?
Fanyaje okoka.
Msichana ya kanye ni wewe.
Babe. Mama nauliza kwenyu ni wapi?
Oh, mimi natoka Nairobi West.
Tom.
Fundisha mtoto wako adabu.
Oh, wacha nango.
Mimi natoka Baba Tiff, natoka mama. Wewe natoka Kokorio ko.
Mimi kisafatia nyakwara yangu hii. Mama, adwani mundi bed pin mos.
Mayo jana ropa.
at sports news now. First Lady Margaret Kenyatta has today officially launched the World Under-20 Athletics Championships mascot, medals and theme song as Kenya finalizes preparations to host the global event. The championship will be held at Kasarani Stadium starting from the 17th of this month to the 22nd.
It is only a week now left before Kenya hosts the World Under-20 Athletics Championship at Kasarani Stadium. First Lady Margaret Kenyatta officially launched the World Under-20 Athletics Championship mascot, medals and theme song. The medals were designed by the Shanga Initiative, drawn from the cultural heritage of the Maasai community, while the theme song Keep Jogging was sung by Nyashinsky to advocate for good mental health. The First Lady praised the medal design, saying they are a symbol of beauty and resilience that our young athletes have gained through training and competition.
As patron, I'm proud to be part of this event, which underscores the rich talent and potential that lies in our youth. These games provide another chance for Kenya to showcase herself as a center of sporting excellence, offering world-class facilities. We proved that we can do it in 2017 when we hosted the World Under-18 Championships, and then we won the bid to host this event. This year, in the midst of the corona pandemic, where the whole world has felt isolated, competitions such as these elevate the importance of sports. Games bring people together, they bring hope. They're a symbol of what can be achieved in even the most difficult situations.
Up to 1,300 competitors from 128 countries are expected to compete in the championships. During the previous edition of the games that was held in Tampere, Finland, Kenya finished top on medal standings with 6 gold, 4 silver and 1 bronze medal. Frederick Mwoki for Easy Friday.
Now, the COVID-19 pandemic notwithstanding, a group of cyclists from the East African community have embarked on a 4th edition of the Great African Cycling Safari, a 2-month-long East African tour to call on the ESC community to address the climatic change in the region and embrace the gospel of regional integration.
The cyclists, who are drawn from the countries of Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, DRC, Ethiopia, South Sudan and Rwanda, are still determined to cover the 6,000-kilometer journey in 55 days. The 2021 tour, which was flagged off on 1st August in Dar es Salaam, from where the team heads to Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi and back to Tanzania, where the event will end on September 25th in Arusha.
Malengo yetu kuu ni kutangaza na kuhaji government zetu wajaribu watuachie border zetu ziwe huru, ili wana East Africa tukue huru kupita na kurudi bila kuhitaji documents mingi ambazo zinahitajika kuvuka border.
Kuzunguka kwenye jamii za watu wa chini, kuelezea jinsi muungano wa Afrika Mashariki upo na jinsi unavyofanya kazi.
From the moment we entered Kenya, we have visited different areas. We have interacted with different people. We have learned more about the Kenya culture, Kenya food.
The cycling enthusiasts say their journey is to see a united ESC community which has embraced brotherhood. The team arrived in Mombasa County yesterday and headed to Kilifi County in the morning, where they were received by county government chief officer who urged them to sell the county tourism circuit.
I like what you are standing for. You say you are standing for peace. And for us, from the tourism sector, when there is no peace, there is no tourism. So when there is peace is when tourism can thrive. Now, I'm looking at cycling as one of the niche tourism products we are promoting as a county. I think a month ago we had the triathlon in Turtle Bay, and now we are having the cyclists.
The team will tomorrow head to Nairobi County.
Tusker FC head coach Robert Matano has been named the June Football Kenya Federation FKF Premier League Coach of the Month. During the month, he helped his side secure the CAF Champions League slot next season. Meanwhile, KCB's Derek Ongara was named the best player of the month of June.
Robert Matano guided Tusker to win 3 out of the 4 matches played in the month of June, and in the process saw off competition from KCB to secure continental football for next season. Tusker began the month with a 1-0 loss to Posta Rangers at the Ruaraka grounds. They then recovered to beat Kariwangi Sharks by a solitary goal at Utalii grounds before downing Western Stima 2-1 at Ruaraka. Their final game of the month ended in a 4-1 thumping of Ulinzi Stars.
Tunataka kuchukua ligi na hakuna siri, lazima tungangane zaidi. Na hii pia ni motivation kwa players wangu, pia naona wanaweza pia kupata award kama hizi. Ligi ni ngumu kwa kila timu. Tunaona champion iko namba 6, 7. So una ligi sio rahisi.
Meanwhile, KCB talismanic forward Derek Otanga has been named June Premier League Player of the Month.
Haikuwa rahisi hiyo month. All in all ni effort yenye tuliweka ndio imepay. I think mi kila season nakwanga tu ni kufunga bao. Hiyo ndio inakwanga motivation yangu. Nataka tu nifunge ni kuwe better than I was in the previous season.
Frederick Mwoki for Easy Friday.
You're still watching Easy Friday. Time now for the big interview. Soccer dance queen Chiki Kuruka meets Bollywood queen of dance Shiksha sits down with Chiki. Up next. You're still watching Easy Friday. That means it's time for me to exit studio on behalf of the entire team, including Lucy Maura, our sign language interpreter this evening. Good night.
Absolutely, just as Fred said, I cannot wait for this interview. I mean, I'm a dancer and I can totally relate to Chiki. I've seen her dance. Just by the way, woman has energy for the entire Kenya put together. I've seen her go non-stop for 4 hours and she is just incredible. Chiki with me right after this short commercial break. Cannot wait for this interview. Hashtag Easy Friday. Make sure you come back. Tweet us on at KBC Channel 1 at Shiksha Arora. We'll be back.
Your name is Filthy Tom Lawler and you're the MLW World Champion. You will do whatever it takes to hold on to that title.
Now hold on here. What is Samael doing? We've seen these guys use paints and spikes and gas cans and
Take it off. Here's Scott. Here is Samael and Selena De La Renta,
your middleweight champion.
Get used to seeing this sight.
This week on Tech on Tech.
Shika simu wakanambia sisi ni watu wa COVID. Tumekuja kuchukua sample. Nikauliza kuchukua sample wapi saa hii tena usiku.
So if they have interest with you, they can easily come for you and block you and do all those funny things.
But also at the same time, do they have the capability to protect the user's data?
We bring you tech news from all over the world, outstanding tech features, amazing innovations and inventions. Join us this Sunday and every other Sunday at 4:20 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
In the beginning, there was the Word, and it was all. Then there was the light, and the world was revealed. With his gifts, war love, power, death, faith. First chapter of the first book of World will be open again. Newly remastered in HD. Genesis.
Welcome back to the show. This is #Easy Friday. My name is Shiksha Arora, and with me today on the spotlight, we've got Chiki Kuruka, soca dance queen, fitness instructor, dance choreographer, performer. Started performing at 12 years old, born and brought up in the UK, and here she is amongst us Kenyans, living like a true Kenyan, married a Kenyan, and in studio, the one and only Chiki Kuruka. Make some noise.
Yo, keep going, man. I feel like you should be my PR person. There's more. Like, no, I'm joking.
There's more?
Dog owner.
Oh yeah. What's it called? Bijou
and Chala.
Ah, all right. Yeah. Bijou, by the way, that guy gets his energy from you.
Yeah.
Is that guy or girl?
Girl. Two girls.
She gets her energy from you.
Bien is the only man allowed in our house, like, including our dogs.
No men allowed.
No men allowed.
Yep, only Bien.
Only Bien. Sometimes. If he's been well behaved.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure hosting you. So let me tell you a fun fact. Just the other day, 2 weeks ago or a week ago, I was in Chiki's studio, the Dance Shags, by the way. Congratulations on that. She recently launched a dance studio. So it's a home of all things dance. So you can go there and find all kinds of dance, you know, from soca dancing to dance hall to Afro to heels choreography.
We have voguing.
Yes.
We have, all kinds of Afro from Amapiano, West African, traditional, Kenyan. We have Gengeton classes.
Hey.
We go all the way in.
Can you Odi? Can you go Odi?
I wouldn't say I'm the best Odi. I would say I'm more of a Nodi.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you see what I did there.
Right. So, Chiki, you know, you've been in Kenya for a few years now. 8 years.
Yeah.
Almost a decade soon.
I'm telling you.
8 years she's been in Kenya. Can you speak some Kiswahili?
I mean, I would say I can understand about 80-90% of what's happening.
Okay.
I try not to speak it because y'all Kenyans are rude. Like, Kenyans will laugh at you in your face for getting the accent wrong. And it's just like, then there's no real incentive to want to talk it. But understanding, and I love it because people think I understand much less than I do.
Okay. So no one can gossip about you, right?
But they do. So I'm there like, oh, is it? That's what you think. I understand everything you're saying.
Right, so she basically understands 80% Kiswahili. Just in case you want to gossip about her, don't do it.
Or do.
And then she'll just go home and be like, do you know what they were saying about me?
Exactly.
I heard everything. I understood everything. So Chiki, tell us about your journey. You know, you came here on holiday, right? And you ended up making a home here and having a family. How did that happen? Let's take it from the top.
Take it all the way. Okay, so my uncle, my aunt is Tanzanian.
Okay.
My uncle is married to my aunt and he's a journalist. So he actually worked for the UN. He's a war correspondent.
Right.
So he was based out of East Africa because I think it's really hard to be in a country and talk about the country. So he wouldn't talk about Kenya, he'd talk about other countries. And he's Nigerian, so a lot of the communication would be about Nigeria. So I came to visit him and my two really good friends, the owner of Mama Rocks, shout out Mama Rocks, are Kenyan. So we used to live together in the UK. So when they suggested, let's go and visit Kenya, it wasn't an odd suggestion to me because my uncle already lives here.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's go, he's my favourite uncle. I know you're not supposed to say that, but he is. So we came and I was like, yo, this place is really awesome.
Yeah.
I'ma stay. So when I came back to the UK and I told my friends and my family, I've just decided to move to Kenya.
Really? Just like that?
Just like that. Everyone thought I was lying.
Okay.
I wouldn't say naturally I'm the most spontaneous person. I'm not super risk averse, but I'm not very spontaneous. Up until then, I'd been like typical straight A student, university, blah, 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 blah. So no one believed
you actually taking such a big step.
Exactly. And 6 months later, here I was. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just knew there was something in me that felt like this is home.
Okay. Wow, I love that. So, you just took such a big decision spontaneously, as you said, because you fell in love with the country.
Fell in love with the country.
And here we are 8 years later having a conversation on Easy Friday.
I'm telling you.
This is awesome.
I mean, now I've made it.
Oh, yes. And not as BN's wife.
No,
as Cheeky Kuruka.
And as an Easy Friday interviewee.
Absolutely. Brilliant stuff. So, Shiki, tell me, when you came here, you started off dancing, I believe. So how did that happen? Did you have an idea of what you wanted to do? You said you weren't sure, but did you know that you wanted to take the direction of dance and you wanted to, expand on that?
Yes and no. So in the UK, I was working, I had multiple jobs, which is really common if you live in the UK, especially London. It's really expensive.
I lived in London for 2 years.
Yeah. Did you have a side hustle?
I did.
Yeah, you had to eat. To eat. So I was working for a record label. I was working with a mental health organisation, and what I was doing overwhelmingly was using dance as a form of therapy, because my background is dance.
That's brilliant.
And I was working for an events company.
Okay.
So I knew I wanted to do something around the creative arts industry to do with wellness and well-being.
Yeah.
So my friends who I came here with, their parents had brought Forever Living to East Africa. And what they were struggling to do is spread that gospel of holistic wellness.
Yes.
So what really disturbed me when I came here was how much conversation was around, I want to lose weight, I want a six-pack, I want to, which is so against what I
want
believe.
A summer body.
I want a summer body, as opposed to I want to be happy. I want to be fit. I want to look in the mirror and love the person that I see back. And I've always felt like dance is such a great avenue for that.
Absolutely.
So I started partnering with them in some of their clinics, doing some dance kind of fitness stuff, and we would record it. And don't forget, stuff has changed so much in 8 years. 8 years ago, people weren't really recording stuff and putting it on YouTube.
Oh yes.
So it wasn't so much of all of that stuff happening. So I was doing that. It just so happened not long afterwards, I met the wonderful CEO of Citizen.
Okay.
And he had seen some of my online content.
Right.
It was just before Slim Possible was about to start. They were looking for a slightly new angle.
And then you had a show there.
And then I had a show there.
Oh, and that's how your interest in dance developed. And of course,
no, that's how it commercialized. I've been dancing my whole life.
Since I think 12, you had mentioned, right?
Professionally, but I've been dancing since I was about 6.
Wow. So let me ask you, what kind of training have you got in dance?
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm sure, in London, there is hundreds of dance schools.
Yeah.
And it's very encouraged. If you have a talent and if you have an interest in dance, then go to a dance school, learn a dance form. So how many dance forms are you well versed with?
First of all, my family's Nigerian.
Yeah.
It's still not encouraged. Like, if you were to ask my dad today, like, what is it that Cheeky does? She does business. Some kind of, so I wouldn't say business. Some kind of, something to do with business and movement. She'll say movement, I'll never say dance. So, no, so I actually started dancing by mistake. So my mum is like really hyper organized, and she doesn't think that children should have spare time to just watch TV, and that's how you get into trouble. And being a black person in the UK, honestly, the risks for you are significantly higher than the risks for someone else. So my parents wanted me actively engaged all the time. So they sent me to everything, Shiksha. So I have done chess club, I have done hockey, I have done karate, I have done, just because my parents didn't want me sitting at home. My mum suggested ballet, but she hated the idea that young girls should do ballet. So she did ballet and karate at the same time. She was like, we're going to balance this out.
We'll have a mix of both.
We'll have a mix of both. I was just
polar ends, but
all polar ends, but that's it. And it just ended up being good at ballet. And so the system in the UK is you go through exams. Even in Kenya, it's the same thing.
Yes.
You go through exams, you do grading. So I did my grading, and like with most exams, there's distinction, honours, and I would just get honours all the time. Classical training is tap, ballet, and it was called disco. Which sounds really old. But we would do all three. So that's how you'd get your classical training. So I started there. Then when you develop into contemporary, normally you develop into some form of hip-hop, commercial, some kind of hip-hop, dance hall. Dance hall wasn't super huge as at the time as a
genre.
As a professional genre.
Okay.
It was more kind of like a sub-genre, but I did dancehall because I used to dance in carnival.
Interesting.
And then I did my A-levels. So A-levels, you learn something called Laban notation. So that's how you write a score sheet for dancing.
Wow.
Don't ask me to repeat. I forgot it immediately.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I left, I was like, that's done with. Really boring. And you do contemporary, so you have to create contemporary pieces. Then I did something called my CSR, which is Community Sports Leadership Award. And I chose dance as my specialism. So that's when you're taught how to teach. So it's very different from being able to dance and being able to teach dance, to be able to break it down. And that particular qualification, you learn how to teach elderly people, people with mental health disorders, children. So you learn how to change your class depending on who you're teaching.
Right.
And then when I started working with mental health charities, then I specialized again with autism, with schizophrenia. Those are my two favorite. That's what I did kind of most of my work with. And yeah, so it's not just dance genres, it's who you teach it to. So yeah, I've done most dance genres at some point. I think most dancers do. But what I think is special about me is I've also taught most types of people and been taught how to teach most types of people.
Oh, absolutely love it. You know, the fact that you just mentioned a lot of things that I had no clue about, and here I am thinking I'm a professional dancer. But I think Chiki has completely changed my viewpoint of dance in general, because, you know, it's nice that you also, apart from learning how to dance, you also learned how to teach dance, which is brilliant. And, you know, we don't get that opportunity here in Kenya because there isn't as many avenues with which you can learn these skills, and you can refine and polish your craft as well. So that's great that you got to do all of that. And now that you're teaching a lot of people how to dance as well, it's brilliant. And let's put dance on hold for a while. Let's talk about just for 5 minutes. Let's talk about you and Bien. You know, like, I want to know, how did you guys meet, and how did that happen? Because you're a British girl, you've just come to Kenya, you just moved to Kenya, and Bien's a star. Was he a star then?
Yeah.
He was. He was a star.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Did he approach you? Did he make the first move?
Okay, first of all, I'm a Nigerian girl.
Okay.
I just happened to have been brought up in Britain. No, so what happened was Talib Kweli came to perform.
Okay.
It was about 8 years ago, and Emmanuel Jambo is a really good friend of mine, so I went with him, and my uncle and aunt were inside. They're old school hip-hop heads, so we were all actually going to meet my uncle and aunt, and it was just after Sauti Sol had won their MTV award.
Oh, nice.
So I was in the car park entering, and I just hear, Manu, Manu. So Emmanuel walked over and they had some man conversation.
Yeah, boy talk.
Yeah. And then he just came up to me afterwards and was like, you good? Like, yeah, I'm good. I didn't know who Sauti Sol were. I was very new in the country.
So he came up to you and said, you good?
You good,
okay,
yeah, exactly. With Manu, like it was like as part of, you know, when people are together, just manners. And then that was the end of it. I knew that song, because that song was really big, Sorayako, but I didn't actually really know the group. We don't have a huge East African community in the UK. It's mainly West African Afrobeat that we get to hear. So then, like a month later, now this is where we actually met.
Okay.
The car park bit is important though. So a really good friend of mine from Rwanda, don't forget Sauti Sol, really huge in Rwanda, was here, and I'd taken her out. She just moved to Kenya. So we were in, I can't remember the name of the club now.
Don't say you're in another car park.
No. Well, actually, I think it was a club car park outdoor kind of thing. But yeah, actually, we were. That's our thing. So we're in another location, and I was there with my friend, and we're talking, and then she just freezes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo,
what's going on?
What's going on? I know her well now, but at the time, I was just like, why is this chick?
Okay?
Is everything okay? So she's like, oh my God, it's the guy from Sauti Sol. Yeah. So I look over, and I'm like, psh, I know this guy.
It's the same guy.
This is the same guy I met the other day. So I was like to her, I'll introduce you, come over. So as I was walking over to him, now everyone's taking selfies, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I didn't know they were that big. I hope he remembers me, because this is going to be really embarrassing because I've talked it up, and like I've brought my friend over. So I went over to him and I was like, you're right. And unfortunately, he did remember me. I was just like, how are you? My friend is frozen. She's messaging people in Rwanda like, you never guess who I'm with, trying to sneak pictures.
Yeah.
And so we sat on a table and we ended up speaking the entire night, to the point where it was antisocial. People were coming over and kind of like...
This is you and him, the entire night.
Actually, my friend was there, but she was mute. So let's just say it was me and him, like the entire night. And honestly, for the last 7.5 years that we've been together, we have never not spoken since. And I think we're just friends. We're just really good friends fundamentally.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I didn't know until last week when Manu was at my house, their side. That's always been my side. I think my side is better. So the boy conversation that I am now privy to, it was like, yo, is that your chick? And then Manu was like, no.
So Bien thought that you were dating Emmanuel.
Manu said, no, that's not my chick. But, so they were leaving because there was too many people in Talib Kweli, so he was a bit kind of off-put by that, so he wanted to leave. Manu was like, don't worry, I've got another event. I'll invite her, make sure you come.
Hey,
I was like, cool.
So Emmanuel played Cupid.
Emmanuel's like our setter-upper.
Was he the best man at your wedding?
He was a photographer at our wedding. He was a photographer at our wedding. He's the person who found Bijou. With us. We now live in his old house. Manu is like,
where is he right now?
It was our third party in our relationship.
Absolutely love it. Right, so we'll get on with this conversation, but for now let's take a short commercial break with lots of music. We've got DJ Koljax in the house, so we'll hand it over to him. We'll be back in a minute. Don't go anywhere. This is hashtag Easy Friday. Keep the comments coming in, tweet us, and remember, hashtag Easy Friday so we can get your messages. If you've got any questions for Chiki, Chiki will answer all your questions. She's an open book, as she said. Cool as ever. Ask her away.
Chinedu.
Right, we're back. We'll definitely get on with the music in a short while, but just looking at you quick. All right, just looking at some of your questions that have come in on Twitter. I've got one that says, following from Kitale from Robinson, what is Chiki's Nigerian name?
So actually, Chiki is not an uncommon name in Nigeria.
Really?
So it's normally pronounced Chike.
Yeah.
My full name is Chikwere.
Okay.
Chi means God where I'm from. So that's why you have a lot of like Chinedus, Chinwa, Chebi. Chi means God. So
Chi means God.
Igbo land, which is where I'm from.
Right.
It's very common.
Oh, love it.
It's funny, in Kenya it's like, my name's Chiki. Oh, is it? That's interesting. In Nigeria, oh, another one. So good.
Another one. I love her Nigerian accent. It's just so spot on. Say something in the accent. I love it.
No, that's so creepy. That's like me saying, like, say what?
Okay, say, my name is Chiki and I'm loving the show today.
I be Chiki now, the show is popping.
Hey, it's popping indeed. All right, Chiki, so you've spoken about Bien, you've spoken about, you know, how you met him. Let's get on to your dance journey. You've been dancing for 5-6 years in Kenya?
No, I mean,
8 years?
The whole time.
The whole time. Yeah. And of course, how was it? In the beginning, you said you started off with dance content. And then, of course, you ended up teaching people. And then you got your own dance studio. So what has the journey been like? What have some of the challenges been in terms of budgets? You know, I know it's not easy, especially as a dancer here in Kenya. We're always faced with lots of difficulties in terms of getting people to actually support you and sponsor you. And then putting up an event as well. Now, that's what you do. So some of the challenges that you've encountered along the way, maybe you can take us through that.
Yeah, I think, like, shout out to the wonderful Kenyan dance community. I mean, there's so many amazing dancers in Kenya. I think the hardest thing that I first faced being a female dancer is the immediate sexualization of what you do.
Absolutely.
And even when you're talking about kind of like video vixens or wanting to kind of be female hypes, it was always okay for guys to be kind of like crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's
Hype
like,
man.
as soon as the girls come on, you're supposed to be. So that was the first thing, because that makes me just fundamentally uncomfortable, you know, because I'm like a hype person. So then it's kind of like, no, what are you doing, man? You should be backing it up. And I was like, I mean, I can, but I do other stuff as well. Yeah, exactly. I think that was a major challenge. I think a second challenge is, I feel like in the industry in general, in the creative arts industry in general, I'm known for really getting frustrated because when people speak about creative arts, it's almost like they mean musicians.
Absolutely, all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And now if they're a little bit more open-minded, maybe they talk about actors as well. Dance very rarely gets entered into the conversation.
Yes, that's true.
So when you're trying to pitch to people, the idea of dance is as a backing instrument. So it might be if a musician's on stage, then a dancer can come and back it up, right? If it's a hype set, then a dancer, and I think every one is responsible for that. You know, people who are hiring dance don't think about the years of training, the pain you put your body through, the limitations on your career lifespan, all of those things. They just think, let's hype something up, let's get some people jumping in the front, and it's going to be really cool.
You never really get to see a dancer get the limelight.
Limelight. I was asked a question today and actually shocked me the answer. So Art in Motion, big up Art in Motion, phenomenal dance crew. They were in my studio today, and one of them, Gidendu, asked me, like, how many dancers do you know are brand ambassadors? And it shocked me that there was me, there was Aggie, again, a brilliant dancer, and there was now Art in Motion have just taken on an ambassadorship. So even that, like, dance makes so much engaging content.
Yes,
but the fact that it hasn't been considered as brand ambassador worthy has been a struggle. I think the fact that dance also sits within the wellness and fitness space as well, and even within that space it's considered the lowest of the low. So it almost feels, I think for me, the struggle has been the same struggle as anyone in this industry, where you're placed. And you can't expect parents to take the craft seriously until you see enough success stories. It's only of late that parents see music as a viable option for Kenyans, because you have your Sauti Sols, you have your Nishinskis, you have your Calligraphs, you have enough success stories to be like, okay, maybe it's not that much of a risky career path. But for dancers, there still isn't enough success stories. So it really requires, as an industry, for us to keep speaking about our worth, what we deserve, encouraging our parents to really support us in the training journey, and encouraging brands, musicians, the rest of the creative arts industry to come on board and to support. So I think that's the challenge of everyone. Secondarily, as a woman opening a business, oh my gosh, like fundis. I love you. Fundis can really mess you up, and the budget that you create to put something together can just be thrown out of the window simply because a fundi just hasn't stuck either to target or to budget or something like that. The fact that very often the men that I pay would be treated as the people who were in charge in my space. So someone would come in and automatically go and speak to the guys, you know, instead of me, who's the one paying everyone's salaries at the end of the day. So I think that challenge, when it comes from the perspective of being an entrepreneur, but again, I'm sure that's not unique to dance. I've heard that story from so many female entrepreneurs. So I think just in general, being taken seriously in whichever space,
as a dancer,
as a woman, as a dancer, as an entrepreneur, as a member of the creative arts community. I mean, you can just kind of pick as an African. I mean, I think that's another big thing that I've really struggled with in Kenya, is that in the UK, no one will question your Africanness. As a result of your skin color, your name, whatever. You step here and immediately your Africanness is being questioned. That has been a big struggle as well, because you spent your whole life being proud of the continent that you come from, and then you come to the continent and people on the continent are reducing you to the UK, which is why when you said British, I would always say I'm a Nigerian, and proudly
Perfect.
so.
I mean, I like that, because I was actually going to ask you as the next question, you know, coming to Kenya, did you ever face any sort of discrimination because of your accent, firstly, you know, because people were like, oh, she's not your usual Kenyan looking girl, and of course the fact that you're Nigerian, of course you're African, but still you're not Kenyan. So like, did you ever get that vibe, the discrimination? Did you ever experience something of the sort?
Yeah, I will never be a Western victim, because the reality is that you get so much more positive assumptions, which is equally as wrong as negative assumptions. assumptions in general are wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, coming here, there have been so many assumptions that I'm more educated, assumptions stereotypes. But I struggle because I'm not more educated than a Kenyan person necessarily. I'm not more worldly than a Kenyan person necessarily. So a lot of the assumptions...
You don't have more money than a Kenyan person.
I don't have more money than... Well, I can understand where that one comes from, because if you come from a system where you don't have to pay for education, you don't have to pay for healthcare, you don't have to pay for those things.
In that sense, yes.
You can understand where
they're coming from.
Where, yeah, there's a frustration that you've obviously come from privilege. It is privilege. It's privilege to not have to consider any of those things. My bigger worry was not people assuming that I have money. That actually doesn't bother me, because if I don't, I don't. It was more, don't assume that I'm better than your average Kenyan.
Okay.
And I did not like that.
Okay.
I did not like being treated better than my Kenyan counterparts. I love my Kenyan friends. I love my Kenyan family.
Like for instance, when you go to a restaurant.
When I go to a restaurant with my cousin-in-law, the fact that I will be treated better than her is so wrong to me. So I had more positive discrimination, which is still negative, really, than negative
in its own way.
discrimination.
Absolutely it is, because you know, you want everyone to feel equal, you want everyone to be treated the same way, not based on the color of your skin or where you come from, right? So I mean, that's great to know that, you know, you are against that, and of course you discourage that in every sense. That's amazing. So Chiki, let's talk about your journey, you know, with BN. For instance, when you had this relationship going on, were there people who were against it? Was anyone saying that, you know, really is this the right choice? Like your family, for instance, do you think he's the man for you? Was there any sort of negative backlash from people you love, from your family, or everyone was always supportive?
Neither of us care. Okay. I mean, maybe there would have been, but I think for you to engage in that kind of conversation, you have to care in the first place.
Okay.
And both of us have always been very set in the fact that
this is it.
This is it. So you jump on board or you go elsewhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. I didn't take time to invest in that. What was important to me is that I respect his mum, I respect his dad. He respects my mum, he respects my dad. Outside of that, it's really not our problem.
I really just love that, you know, you really interact with his dad so well. I've seen her videos, like she posts Bien's dad on her social media. They're hilarious. She makes him dance to like soca music.
I try.
And he's really just loving it. Like he's been living with you for a while, and I think like he's enjoying his time with you.
Yeah, no, I'm really close to his parents, and I think they just respect the fact that as adults, we come to them as adults. We don't try and pretend we're different from who we are. I think that's a misconception that I think kids have, that you have to show a perfect version of yourself to your parents, and I think they just want to connect with you. So I've always really taken time to invest in my relationships of people that I care about, and I care about my in-laws, so I really invest in our relationship. They're both amazing. His mum is my mum, genuinely.
That's so sweet.
His mum is actually nicer than my mum in many respects. I love my mum. I love my mum.
If your mum is watching,
no, I tell her all the time, because Bien's mum is just so much more caring. Like my mum is so warm. My mum is more like, okay, pick yourself up. You're fine. Bien's mum is going to be more like, Akiwoye, Pole, what can I do? Can I get you some medicine or something?
Especially when you're coming home after a long day.
No, she lives in Kakamega.
Okay, but like I'm sure, like, you know, you tell her about what you do, and she's always like, oh, it's okay if you're tired.
Exactly. And then I'll just take time. What you know, she sends stuff over from the village. So no, his parents are amazing. I am so blessed. I think the reason why I really try and post and talk about it is there's such a negative stereotype that in-laws are monsters.
Evil. Yes.
And that hasn't been my experience. My in-laws are incredible. And I think we need to break down
We need to change that narrative.
We need to change that
because
narrative.
Everyone believes, as you said, that in-laws are monsters and they're evil, and you know, you just stay away from them, you can't live with them. And that needs to be changed. And it's great that, you know, that's a step in the right direction, I must say. Now, Chiki, let's talk about your day-to-day. What time does Chiki wake up? What time does she go to the studio? Because every time I call you, you're in the dance studio. And it's hard to get Chiki because she's always dancing. She has a shoot. She's literally on the move from morning until night. So take us through a day in Chiki's life.
First of all, it's testimony to how much I love you that I'm here right now. Because I wake up, because I wake up most days at about 4:30.
Okay.
I really believe in prayer. So from about 4:30 till 5, I'll meditate on my day or I'll pray. I believe in gratitude, just waking up and saying thanks. So then from 5 I get to my studio about 5:36. I have a website, so it's a subscription-based website. So it should be that you can dance from wherever you are, from the comfort of your own home. I really believe dancing is for everyone.
And you know, just to talk about that, I mean, it's one of the first in Kenya.
No, it's
right.
It's
the first.
It's the first in Africa.
In Africa,
yeah.
That is unbelievable. You know, when I saw this, I was like, this is brilliant, because this idea is something that we've seen in Western countries, we've seen in India, we've seen around the world, but it hasn't been embraced and adopted here in Kenya. And you brought it to life, and how well have you done it? So she has a website where you can actually watch dance and learn dance, and you subscribe to it and you pay a subscription fee, and she teaches you everything that you need to know about dance. And especially now with COVID, you know, in the middle of a pandemic, I feel like it's the best thing that you could do for yourself.
Yeah, so the idea was supposed to be, actually my biggest motivation was mums. Because when my show was on in Citizen in the morning, 5:30 till 6, right? Mums used to say it's perfect because we're getting our kids ready to school, so we kind of dance along and blah, blah, blah. And I understand that for maybe 5-6% of the country, people have time or facilities to go to the gym and come back. For a lot of the population, that's not true. So it might be the case that you're coming home late, or you're leaving early, or you know what, you just don't want to leave your house and you want to spend the time with your family. I think all of those things are valid and fair. So I wanted to find a wellness option for those people. So yes, it's subscription based. It's not just me, it's me and my entire team, and all of those different dance genres we teach them. So we have cardio carnival, we have Afrofusion, we have hip hop, we have voguing, and we take it from beginners all the way through to advanced.
Love it.
But it's a lot of work. So what that means is
you have to wake up early.
I'm teaching on ground as well as filming an entire
How many
class.
classes do you have in a day?
Digital and physical?
Yes, both.
I teach for about 4 hours a day.
Wow, 4 hours of dance. And I'm sure you also have to train, you have to practice, you have to come up with choreographies and routines.
No, we do that on the spot. There's no time for that. But because we also have our clients, so I do a lot. I mean, you'd be surprised, a lot of the music videos I've been involved in, especially with Soul Generation, almost all of them. So that now requires creation.
Absolutely.
So for the website, not necessarily, because if we're teaching a beginner's class, our aim isn't to have you know, a Beyonce. Our aim is for people to enjoy, because people get really intimidated by the fact that maybe they're not the best dancer.
And dancing is a way to release stress, it's a way to unwind, and it's the best form of endorphins, I believe. Like, if you want to feel happy, dance away.
I mean, it's the best form of exercise.
Exercise as well, yes.
It's the only exercise that uses the right side of your brain along with the left side of your brain.
Love it.
So what it does is pushes your creativity as well as your counting. Because choreography requires you to count. So that's kind of the more literal, whilst you're also doing the creative. So it's amazing for mental health, because if you're anxious, if you're stressed, normally it goes through your mind the entire time. But when your right side and your left side are engaged, your body just shuts down. You focus on the activity, and when you come back after it, you're rejuvenated. You've had some time out.
I've learned a lot in this interview, I have to say. So thank you so much, Cheeky.
Thank you,
Before we
Shiksha.
wind up, you have to teach me 1 or 2 soca steps.
No, I don't.
No, you have to.
I told Shiksha I wasn't going to do this. And you know what? I'm Nigerian. I can still say no.
Cheeky, come on.
I can
just
say no.
one. You were teaching me one like this. What was
I didn't teach you that.
No. Okay, what was it?
If she leaves this place and says I taught her that, then
okay, so she told me, like, don't do this. Do this to your hand.
No. I said, the move is an inappropriate word, so I can't even talk about it.
It's just basically
it's
like
from the bottom.
Okay, so it's sideways.
Yes, but it's from the bounce. Exactly, the bounce. The arms follow on from the.
Gotcha.
From the bottom.
What's the name of this? You said that you.
It's called the bounce.
It's called the bounce.
So
she's a soca queen. Go check her out on Instagram. She's got some incredible moves going on. You need to go to @Cheeky Kuruka.
Or at the dance Shags. Yes. Or Shago. SAGZ.
All right, and she will make sure that you are well. You basically need everything that you need from dance. She's got it.
Boom.
When it comes to soca, dance hall, what else?
Hip hop, Vogue. I'm a piano. Lingala.
There's heels, some heels dance you're telling me about.
No, you said no. We don't do heels in our studio because my floor was very expensive.
Right. But that's something that you've trained in.
Yeah.
What's it called? Heels choreo.
They're just dancing in heels.
Dancing in heels. So she can dance in heels as well. So if you want to watch that, I'm sure later on in life We'll do something together.
No, you might have to come to my house for that.
Okay, done. Any message for your fans as we wrap up?
Love yourself. Don't let people tell you that you're less than amazing, because you are amazing.
Oh, love it. So thank you so much for watching. That was Chiki Kuruka. Absolutely lovely having her in studio, talking about dance, talking about the journey of a dancer here in Kenya, her struggles, her challenges, of course, her relationship as well. And yeah, like the fact that she is really shattering the glass ceiling when it comes to dancing, when it comes to dancers. Absolutely love to see it. So that's it from me today right here at KBC Channel 1. I'll meet you next week at 9 p.m. Stay tuned. Until then, enjoy your weekend. God bless. Shiksha Arora signing out. Bye.
Fashion College with branches in Nairobi, approved institution. We offer courses in fashion design, event planning, hairdressing, barbering, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT. Our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. 50 Nairobi branch 0728 227428 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion.
To get change your thinking skiza tune, dial star 811 star 961 hash.
When you change the quality of your thinking, you change the quality of your life. Sometimes instantly, just as positive words can make someone calm, smile or laugh, your thoughts will react to the world in real time. So, change the quality of your thinking.
Dial star 811 star 961 hash.
My name is Rosemary Warongo and I'm a wildlife folio. 2,812. How they live as families, it's just like the way we live at home. I just take the image and drag it in the...
This is Wildlife Warriors, and I'm Paula.
Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation.
Ningetaka nikwambie, our Jehovah God, because the Bible says He is able to take you to a place of abundance. He is able to take
la neema ukiletewa naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa